The attachment phase is the first 12 to 18 months of life. If you're really lucky during this phase, lots of good things are happening. You live in a calm environment. You're well nourished. There are nice noises like music and human voices and things like that, but not scary things going on around you. You feel calm. You're well taken care of. There are certain things that really contribute to the attachment process. Things like touch. When you're upset, somebody takes you and holds you and squeezes you and rocks you. How do moms and dads know to just do stuff like that? This kid is upset. You pick him up, you give him a little squeeze, you hold him tight, you go like this. How do you know to do that? One of my favorite observations, there's a squirmy kid, there's a mom and a group of other women around. Mom picks up the squirmy kid, starts to hold him, rock him a little bit like this. What almost always happens? All the other moms start to rock like this too. They're just standing there. They start. They're in this wonderful empathetic synergy back and forth like that. How do we just know that this is good for this kid in this moment? I don't know. But somehow we do. And those are the things that help build those connections. FaceTime with that baby. You had a baby or two?
Yeah.
Did you just look at them some days?
Yes.
Oh, did you just fall into those eyes and connect with, could you feel it?
I could.
What is that? It's a part of life that's incredible and special. And there's all kinds of reasons why that's important. There are things like mirror neurons in the brain. And what that means is I'm noticing, and mom goes like this, and I go like this. Mom goes like this, and I go like this. There's a modeling and replication. There's a whole process of brain growth and development that goes on with appropriate touch, with appropriate care, with good FaceTime, with good voice. Do kids listen to mom's voice? Do they really love that sound? Do they know their mom's voice from other voices? Did you know that kids know their mom's voice from other voices before they're born, while they're still in the womb? And does that voice tell a lot about that mom? Can you hear the difference if she's calm and strong as opposed to scared and nervous or depressed or anxious? Is there a different voice?
And the baby's feeling.
And that calm and strong voice is the one that makes this kid feel safe. And so that's a part of the attachment process. It's a beautiful thing when it works. There are a bunch of things that can disrupt the attachment process, make this kid feel insecure. Maybe this child is sick and has a whole lot of pain in his or her life. In some cases, they used to take kids that were premature and put them into little incubators, and they wouldn't let anybody come around and talk or touch or interact with that child. That was back in the 50s and early 60s. They stopped putting kids away from everybody like that. Why? A lot of them failed to thrive. They were more likely to die. They were more likely to be developmentally disabled in some way, shape, or form. A lot of them failed to thrive. And so we don't do that anymore because that's not good for their future outcomes. Now we know that even if a kid has to be put into a protective environment, we have gloved systems. You can go in, you can hold, touch, play. There's voice, there's back and forth. We've got to have that stimulation for these kids to feel safe and connected. And if they don't have that sense of safety and connection, they will fail to thrive. If a child is real sick, if there is physical, emotional, and or sexual abuse, these are all things that can terribly disrupt the attachment process. If you're so fortunate as to truly get that sense of being connected and safe and trusting with your primary caregiver, then you start to build that sense of connection with other caregivers like brothers and sisters and dads and grandmas and grandpas and other people around you in your life. Those are called secondary attachments. There's always a primary attachment. It doesn't have to be theoretically a mom. It could be a dad. It could be a grandma. But it needs to be somebody in that child's life that answers some basic questions. that stay with you for the rest of your life. Basic questions like, are you safe? Are you in a safe place? Can you trust? Can I absolutely trust and count on somebody to be there when I'm hungry, when I'm wet, when I'm cold, when I'm needy? Can there absolutely trust that somebody will show up to take care of me? Am I worthy of love? Does somebody absolutely and completely love me? And am I capable of loving? At a certain point, this child feels connected to his primary caregiver in a way that's pretty special. When mom smiles, I smile. When I smile, she laughs and smiles. Somehow we are connected. What's good for me is good for her. What's good for her is good for me. This is a thing. We're connected. We're part of each other. That's the beginning of what's called social conscience. I don't just care about myself. I care about others as well. It's partly because caring about others helps them take care of me. We're connected. What's good for mom is good for me. What's good for me is good for mom. The beginning of social conscience. Eventually that grows into what's good for my family is good for me. What's good for me is what's good for my family. What's good for me is what's good for my community. What's good for my community is good for me. We are a part of each other. We take care of each other. Being a socially responsible person comes from that basic attachment, that social conscience and bond. How important is that? There are some people that don't have a good attachment experience. The ones that are significantly damaged have this thing called reactive attachment disorder. Those are the people who are absolute pure sociopaths. They don't have a conscience. They don't really care about others. They manipulate their way through life. Some of them become politicians. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Fortunately, it's a relatively small number of people that are true sociopaths. They don't care about others. It's a very small percentage. But there's a whole bunch of kids in the world today that have what's called partial or incomplete attachment. They didn't get the whole attachment experience the way that is optimal for children at this age. I trust my primary caregiver. I know that I'm loved. I know that I'm capable of loving. The world is basically a safe place where there are some people I can absolutely trust. They didn't get that quite to the degree that you would want. And so they are a little bit insecure and maybe a little bit manipulative as they go through life, depending upon the level of dysfunction. There's a lot of kids that aren't getting the full quality of attachment in the world today. In schools, we need to pay a lot of attention to that because these kids struggle. They struggle to be empathetic. They struggle to self-regulate. They struggle to believe in themselves. In life, this plays out in a whole bunch of different ways. Imagine those basic questions. Is the world a safe place? I'm not sure. Are there some people I can absolutely trust? I'm not sure. Am I worthy of love? I'm not sure. Am I capable of loving? I'm not sure. You need some pretty solid answers to optimally help and support these babies during the attachment phase of life. If you become well attached, then you start to enter into this self-regulation development. There's a prime time. There is a prime time in the development of this little brain, in the development of this child, for the development of what we call the foundation skills, the skills that help you manage yourself emotionally. And these are basically, can I calm myself down? When I'm upset, can I breathe like you were talking about earlier? Can I get myself together? Can I calm myself down and get back to a good place? Can I persist? Can I keep on trying even when things get tough? Even when things get boring? Can I keep hanging in there? Can I focus on the right thing? Dad's talking to me, I should listen. Mom's talking, a teacher's talking, I should listen. Can I focus on the right thing at the right time and not be distracted by a whole bunch of other things that are going on?